Go for it.
Hi, hey, go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it, man.
Go for it.
Hey,
Go for it.
welcome.
No gophers allowed and don't muddle Monday. They always muddle things up, those gophers. Always digging holes and throwing dirt everywhere.
They
So
do,
confusing.
man. Right in your face.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Really?
bend
Right in
down
your
to see
face.
what they're doing, they'll
What?
throw dirt right at your face.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
very rude.
if they don't run from you first.
Yeah, so don't go for it.
Don't don't go. I take it all back.
I
Don't
take
go
it
for
back. Yeah, don't go for it. We don't need
it.
that. We don't need dirt in the face.
Wow. Well, that's quite an introduction.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ryan. welcome everyone. It's Don't Muddle Monday, which is Don't Worry Wednesday, Monday edition. It's been dubbed Don't Muddle Monday. Who did? Was that Princess?
That was Princess.
Nice. All right. So yes, this is the show in the description. Welcome to Don't Muddle Monday. It's a stream where we talk about worries and help one another. We're not professionals or professional help, but we will try to give helpful advice. That's the official report right there. It's right there in your chat. You can read it. But yeah, no, this is a show we just want to help out any way we possibly can. Like it says there, we're not professional therapists, we're not doctors or lawyers or anything like that, and we're not a substitute for any professional advice. However, we just want to be your friend, and we want to help in any way we can, just to offer some love and encouragement, some perspective while you journey through whatever challenge you may be facing. So yeah, if you have something you'd like us to talk about, you can go ahead and post it right there in the chat. You can post it on our website, bss.studio. There's a link right there in the chat. And also you can send us an email, dww@bss.studio, which that's about the best way to get in touch with us if you want to remain anonymous. Just be sure you put in your email that you would like to remain anonymous. And that way we will be sure to keep you anonymous. So yeah, or you can find us on Discord. That's another one too. And yeah,
Yep.
you guys are here. You guys are why we do this show. This is your show. And our producer is Jesse. He's the guy keeping us on and off again. And our chat room hostess is Princess. Thank you, Princess. Working behind the scenes, we have Senna. And also, I am the host for this evening, Joe.
That's right.
And the star of the show and of the world, in fact, is Static P.
Hey guys, I'm the star of the world.
He's the star of the world.
Wow. Okay. Does that make you the host of the world?
No, not at all. Because I said you're the star of the show and also of the world.
Wow.
You are the ascended one after all.
Dang. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Well, everyone, come gaze at my starriness.
Yes.
Hope I don't wait. Doesn't that make me the sun? Sun is the star.
It might be. You are the sun.
Okay, guys,
S-U-N,
I'm the sun.
and you are the son of your mother and father.
That's true.
Yes.
Because I'm the star of the world, so therefore I'm the son of everybody.
And you're young enough to be my son, you young whippersnapper.
Am I though? I mean, technically,
yeah. If I was,
you're right. It would have been possible. Yep.
Probably. Yep.
It didn't happen, but it would have been possible.
Yeah. So, at any rate,
anyhow,
all that aside,
yeah,
let's move on, because this is, we want to just be here for you. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are awesome, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
That was it. All right. Wow. Yeah, don't worry, guys. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry, Wednesday's over, and now you should feel better about everything that we covered here on today's stream. Okay. All right. Well, so what do you say we get started then, huh?
Yes, let's do. So,
let's cover some stuff before we leave, maybe.
All right.
Other than the fact that I'm the star of the whole world somehow, and all that kind of stuff.
And somebody actually said the universe.
Oh, and the universe.
Jesse says the universe. Yes.
Oh, so and everything else, which pretty much covers everything.
Yeah. That's exactly right. So
I
I'm
am
gonna
30
go through.
actually, Akil. I'm 30 right now.
Ryan is 30. Oh man, you
Yep.
are so old.
Yep. I know.
So it would have been barely possible for
I
me to be
know.
your
Like it would have been
like
really
barely.
difficult for you
Like
to have me as a child, but
yeah,
technically it's possible.
yeah. Anyway, all right, let's go
Time
through the
travel.
list.
Wow.
We
That's how hard it is. Time travel. Okay. Figure that one out by the time you're 90.
Then
Okay,
yes,
anyways.
then I could be your father. Perfect. So anyway, all right. So let's see. We got a bunch of topics here. I'm gonna just say the list of the names that we have in the queue here. If you hear your name, just give us a shout out. Put a big old bunch of exclamation points in the chat right there. Just
Nice.
and yeah, just like that. And we'll do that. So here's the list: Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Subaru, Rain Knight, Aura, Akil, Little Miss Fancy, and Bree.
Awesome.
Yes, and Subaru, we see you. Welcome back. It's great to see you. You have one from March 11th that we would finally get to go through, which is wonderful. So yes, we're glad to see you. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you, Senna. Okay, so let's see. Princess has posted the link. You guys can click it because that's what links are for clicking. And it will take you to this wonderful website. It's called bss.studio/forum/index.php?topic/1322-subaru/ never mind. Yes, I'm getting
confused. It's good that you read it out. You should do that every time. Just in case someone's typing what you're talking about.
All right. Anyway,
yeah.
Here we go.
There's a transcriptor for this whole series.
All right. This is called The Right Thing to Do. And it goes like this. Okay. It has been a while since I had written anything here. If you, Joe or Ryan, are just a tad bit curious about what's been going on in my life, here's the short rundown. I've been meditating and looking at life in the brighter end. I try to see the light instead of the dark, and so far, life has been good. I'm doing more things that make me happy. I'm experiencing the good things in life, and yeah, I got a girlfriend. Been dating her for like 5 months now, counting this day. That's awesome. The reason I'm saying anything here in this post is of something that I've had recently found out. In my last post, I believe that I wasn't clear on how my life has been going. I said that all I ever did was cause bad things, and therefore I said that I was a monster. I hurt others, and consequently, it made me realize the terrible things I had done. My life, based on the evil and cruel things that I've done, is worthless, and there isn't a day where I see myself as someone that has any worth. I held a hatred towards my being, and in short terms, I was suicidal and wanted to die. After the Don't Worry Wednesday, where you guys, Joe and Ryan, discuss about my issues, it made me realize something. I realized that all my past things I've done will never go away, and I'll probably live my life regretting everything. I was a bully that harassed people. I made someone commit suicide. I enjoyed bringing others down and making them suffer, etc. All of these things will haunt me until the day I die, tearing me apart in a dark abyss within my conscience. This isn't the point I'm trying to get across. The thing I realized is that although the past will always be there, the future holds endless possibilities. I'm trying to change myself, fighting my inner demons and the obstacles life throws at me. I'm trying to fix my past mistakes, even if it is pointless, and seeing the goodness instead of the bad. I know I can't repent for everything I did in my life, but I can try to change myself and the people around me so we all can reach a better life. Darling was a close friend of mine that went down a dark path in her life. She was someone beautiful that made others smile, but life decided to throw some curveballs to tear her down. In the end, I gave it my all, and I managed to at least keep her company during the darkest months in her life. I said that my life was worthless, and I still believe that. But by helping someone, it doesn't mean that my life gets some worth. It means that I use something worthless, such as myself, to fix or improve something such as Darling. It's like saying that a dull blade won't get sharper if it was used to slice something in two, but it would had caused a change like sharpening another blade. I help Darling to see the better light, and in return, I try to reach for that light as well. So, yeah, thank you, Ryan and Joe. Thank you. Now that that's out of the way, the biggest problems I'm facing right now is my relationship with my girlfriend. And no, I'm not dating Darling. I met this girl, I'll call her Princess, about a year ago. Although we shared some common interests, we weren't the closest. We were just somewhat friends. But as we hanged out together, our bond was slowly growing stronger as we shared some more things about ourselves. Fast forward a good couple of months, and I asked her out. You can probably guess the result. Anyways, we have been dating for a while, and I feel that our love for each other would never end. I know that's delusional thinking, and I know. Okay, buddy. We grew closer and closer, our love for each other becoming more real. I haven't told her anything of my past because I'm afraid she won't accept me. That's one of the problems. The other is I found out recently, I'll say a month ago, that Princess gets bullied at school. I found out that she also feels useless and carries suicidal thoughts. I tried to help Darling before, and I felt like part of that was because Darling wanted to change. Darling hasn't been mistreated as of late, and I feel that she changed herself to live a better life as well. But Princess here is a different story. The main issue separating these two is that Darling knows of my past self and still allowed herself to be friends with me, but Princess knows nothing of my history. I'm afraid that by helping her, I'll end up making it worse. Gets bullied relentlessly, and I can't do anything to stop it. She hasn't done anything wrong. If anything, she's just as kind as Darling. But Princess doesn't carry that will or resolve to change. She's weak minded and allows herself to, in other words, be tossed around. Please, if you know anything, tips or wisdom to help me get through this problem, I'll very much appreciate it. I once caused others pain. I don't want to see others hurt again. So please, what's the right thing to do? And that is from Subaru. Thank you so much for the topic. Um, and yeah, that's definitely you are on the battlefield, my friend. That is right there in the trenches, and it can be really tough when you're dealing with other people's challenges and struggles and hurts and all of that, and you're trying to deal with your own at the same time and help others. I commend you so much for your willingness to be involved. It's not an easy place to be, but your willingness to be there says a lot about who you are and what resides in your heart. And thank you
Mhm.
for being there for these young ladies. um and yeah. So with that, I will turn it over to Ryan, because he's, as I said before, quite wise in wisdom
Uh,
and things of
I love you, Joe.
was that sorry. Take it away,
Sorry for
Ryan.
laughing at that. I was like, just
Quite wise in
imagining.
wisdom.
Yeah, that's good. It actually makes sense though, like because you could be wise about many things, but if you're wise about wisdom, it means you know the routes to obtaining wisdom, which is one of the most important things to be wise at. So that would be great if I was. Um so anyways, thank you for reading that, Joe, and thanks Subaru for posting this. You know, like we said last time, it takes strength to talk about these types of things. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're with us right now, and we can have a go at it.
Mhm.
Um, and just like Joe said, I mean, you've already got a good heart. You know, as much as you worry, as much as you are upset at your past self, I think it's already apparent that you're moving forward, right? You are creating something. You know, one of the things you said, you kind of, you feel like you're worthless and you don't gain any value out of helping other people. You don't become more valuable person, but you are creating goodness in the world by what you do. And so you're adding value to the world by existing and choosing what to do with your time, what to do with your actions, because you're a human being. You've got free will and you get to do whatever you want. And what you choose determines the outcome of the world, to some degree, right? It changes the outcome of other people's lives. It can give spirit and strength to other people. And I think that's super awesome because you're spending time to do that. You're spending time worrying about other people and how you can help them out. So props to you. I think that's awesome. So what do you do when you see someone who's struggling? They're being bullied at school. They don't have very much conviction to grow. And I really love that you pointed this out because it is true. If you're helping somebody who has the intention of changing versus someone who doesn't, it is a very different scenario. So you have a good eye to notice that, a good eye to witness that, because it's absolutely true. I've been personally in contact with people, whether it be people who just like they hate themselves and that's it, or they hate themselves and they want to stop hating themselves. But here's the thing. Both of them are capable of change, and both of them will get better with the same steps, believe it or not. One may take longer than the other, but they both get better. So this hand, I hate myself. Great, Senna. It's good to know that there's no one's alone here. So here's the thing, Subaru. When it comes to helping other people, one of the best things you can possibly do is be an example and a constant reminder of what you were talking about before, that limitless possibility, that possibility to gain, that possibility to do good in the world, to create good, to become better. The possibilities are, endless. Be a living example of that good and be around them applying that. So here's I'm going to share with you a story. Okay. I'm going to share with you a story, Subaru. This one's going to connect with you. All right. And I think I might've shared this story in Light last time we talked. But I'm going to share the story with you. Okay. So when I was, let's see, how old was I? 19, about 19, 18 or 19. I met a girl online. I won't disclose her name, but she was a wonderful gal. I talked to her and spent time with her every single day. We talked all the time. We never dated, but I liked her a lot and I wanted to, but she never felt the same way about me. Okay. So we met on a game and we would talk all the time. She absolutely hated herself. All right. She didn't like herself at all. She was in a relationship with a man who was suicidal. She herself had told him that if he ever committed suicide, she would also commit suicide. Okay. Now she told him that with full intentions of doing so, but also with the intentions of making sure that he didn't. Okay. Because she knew what vulnerable state he was in. So she told him, don't commit suicide. I'm with you, we're together. And, if you do it, I'll do it too, type of thing. So, they were in a relationship for several years. And at one point during that relationship, she said, okay, you know what? We need to take a break. Because they were having a lot of issues between the two of them. Okay. So she said, let's take a break in our relationship, kind of get away from each other for a while and then come back to it. And so in a sense, she dumped him. But she didn't want to dump him because she knew that if she did, he would probably commit suicide. So instead of dumping him, she said, let's take a break. Okay. So then I come in, we start talking, and she always refers to him as her ex. Her ex is doing this, or her ex is blah, blah, blah. One day I was playing the game with her, and it was an online game, and she said, my ex is going to come on later today, probably. So if you ever see him, he goes by this name, tell him that we don't hang out, or you haven't seen me in a couple of months. And I was like, okay, all right. And he actually came on and he said, hey, have you seen blah, blah, blah? And I was like, I've seen her. I haven't seen her in a couple of months though. And he says, okay, all right. And I actually spent like about 3 minutes talking to him and trying to figure out, who is this guy? What's this guy like? But I lied to him, I lied to him because I told him like, I don't know where she is. I was literally just talking to her. I was talking to her at the same time as I was talking to him. And I was telling him, I don't know. I haven't seen her in a while. Because she didn't want him to know that she was hanging out with another guy, because he would get jealous and he would freak out. And that freaking out would cause a lot of drama in her life and possibly even suicide. So she was being extremely careful, and she asked me to lie for her, and I did. I wish I hadn't lied. I wish I would have taken that time to say, yeah, I actually talk to her regularly, but like, I want to take this moment to get to know who you are and talk to you. I wish I would have taken that opportunity to actually get to meet him and talk to him for a while and make a friend and talk with him every day, because that would have been a way better outcome. That would have been cool. Well, I didn't see him again. And, months went by, me and her continued to talk. She hated herself. But as we spent time together, I was always affirming her. I was like, you're awesome. You've got such a big heart. I'm telling her like every single day, every single time we meet, I'm lifting her up in one way or another. I'm always finding opportunities to celebrate the goodness in her, to celebrate where she's strong, to celebrate anything about her that I can find is beautiful. And trying not to focus on the problems. So yeah, she's suicidal. Yeah, she doesn't like herself, right? But I'm trying not to point that out. I don't want to focus on those things. All I want to focus on where she is awesome, because I want to make sure that she knows I'm proud of her, so that she can start to see herself and become proud of herself too. Because if you're proud of who you are, you cannot be depressed. Okay? Those two things, they do not work together at the same time.
Right.
So if you can get someone to be proud of themselves, focus on those things which make them proud, constantly affirming them and bringing them up and being a positive environment for them, a safe place for them to go to, knowing, you know what, this is where I go. This person always makes me feel good, safe, strong, and I like who I am when I'm around them, right? If you can create that environment for them just by you being positive, then what's going to happen is they can start to notice inside themselves what's good. And from there, they can start to go, oh, like, I don't hate myself as much anymore. And hopefully over time, which is what happened with me and her, eventually she got to a point where she didn't hate herself anymore. She got to a point, because we were hanging out every single day, where she didn't want to commit suicide anymore. All right. It was awesome, because all I did was try to be myself, but try to be my best self and try to focus on what's the best parts of her and point them out to her. And when, what happens is you compliment someone and they turn it down. That's okay. Just let that be. Then the next time you see them, compliment at the same time. Same thing. It's okay to say the same thing and just reaffirm it and be like, every time, like, I'm just so impressed. Every time you do this, like, I'm just like, wow, that's incredible. The fact that you smile even through all that pain, that's you know, you're amazing to me. That's so incredible to me. You know what? That's celebrating something good about them. And at first they're gonna be like, they're just gonna not accept it. But after you say it so many times, they just have to believe it. It's just like, yeah, it's true. Like, even if they keep on saying, oh no, 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 no. Eventually, you know, through repetition, it becomes believable. And it is the truth anyways, right? You're only gonna say things that are truly beautiful about them. Right. She's always gonna deny the compliments, all right? But the thing is, they work. They work inside of her. Whether she responds to them positively or not, they build up inside of her, all right? So keep doing that. Now, to continue my story, months pass by. She's not depressed anymore. She doesn't hate herself, all right? And then I get a message on my phone saying, "Hey, can you remind me how to spell your full name?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." That's a weird message, but I responded. I was at college, so I wasn't at my computer. So I was at college and then I just typed out my full name. And then I didn't see her for like 2 weeks. I didn't sleep for those 2 weeks. I was like freaking out. I was like, this is weird. This is not good. What happened? She finally comes on. She's like, she is dead set on, I'm going to commit suicide. Because what apparently happened is the ex-boyfriend stole her phone, messaged somebody with a random name, "Hey, what's your full name? How do you spell it?" I responded to it because it was me. And it didn't line up with the name that was given, and he freaked out. So he went home that night and he wrote a note and put it on his bed that said, basically, "I'm committing suicide. It's all," and it's all her fault. It's all your fault. And he wrote her name down. And then he ended it. He went into, well, he lived in Ontario, Canada, and he jumped in front of a train and killed himself. This was several years ago. Right after that, they commissioned basically, the government commissioned a bunch of people to build a fence now in front of the train station. So, so that people can't jump in front of the train anymore. So if you want to talk about like someone's fault for someone else's suicide, I lied to that man. I'm not going to lie again. I'll never lie like that again. I could have been his friend. Instead, I chose to push him away, just like she did. And now, if I ever go to Canada and I see the subway station, I can go, yeah, that fence railing, that's because of me, right? That's because I was a part of that. I was a part of that story, right? But I remember, here's the thing. I had to tell her this. It's not your fault that he committed suicide, right? Everyone was telling her that, because when you commit suicide, it's your own choice. As much as we say, I was a part of that story, I cannot say I made that decision for him. I cannot say I led him to that decision, because ultimately it's his choice what he does with his body. It's his choice to jump, right? It was not her fault that he jumped. It's everything that was going on in his mind, right? And there was nothing can be done at that point. It's over, right? And so she went plummeting into depression. She wanted to commit suicide again, and she was dead set on it. And no matter what anybody said, she was just going to do it. And she had a date set and a way and everything, okay? And we were all talking to her, like me and a bunch of her friends were just like constantly messaging her. And then one day, she had a friend come along who voice called her and kind of opened up a a video conversation, and he was just crying and he was bawling in front of her about the whole thing. Like, don't do it. And, and like, please don't do it. And he just started crying, right? And I've been crying too. But I didn't show her that I was crying. Okay. Subaru, this part's important. So pay attention. All right. I never showed her that I was crying when she said she was going to commit suicide. I cried by myself. All right. But she had one friend, when she told, he actually started crying and he let her see it. He let her see the pain on his heart. And at that moment, she knew she could never do it. She knew she was done with the whole idea. She had to admit, like, I can't do it because I can see the pain on this other person's heart. And that pain, that sorrow from someone else made her just completely never want to commit suicide. Because she knows how much it hurts. Because she experienced it herself. She experienced someone else committing suicide and she mourned and mourned and mourned. And then she said, I couldn't put someone else through that. That would be too much. Right? So, Subaru, it's important to show your sorrow. As much as I'm saying you have to be strong for them, you have to be the rock which they can, stand on. You have to be uplifting. You also have to show sorrow. You have to show your humanity. You have to show you feel for them. Okay? Because both of those things are what will raise someone up. Okay? I mean, not that you're religious at all, but Jesus went to a grave, or not to a grave, but went to someone who was dead, and he cried. Even though he knew he was going to raise them up, he cried anyways. And they're like, Jesus, why are you crying? Like, you're just going to raise them from the dead. Like, what's the big deal? Like, they're going to go into heaven. Why are you crying? And he has all this sorrow. But that sorrow is super important. Because, again, maybe you're not religious, but God experiences pain. God experiences sorrow for our sorrow, right? We need to do the same. We need to be sorrowful when other people are sorrowful, right? But we need to show that. But we also need to uplift it, right? Take that sorrow and move it to something forward. Because all day we can be sorrowful and sit in it and go nowhere. But you see, what this man did for her is he was sorrowful and he took it and said, don't do anything bad, do something good. That's completely different, right? If we are sorrowful and we're just like, man, this stinks. Oh, I hate it. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. But we never say, man, what do we do now? Let's figure that out. Let's move forward. Let's move beyond this. Let's let's figure this out so we don't have to be here, right? That's completely different. So it's important to not necessarily force that in the sense of like, I'm going to figure this out for you and you just do whatever I say, because that's never going to work. But it's important to be positive so that she can start to be positive through her sorrow. So when you experience that sorrow with her, think about positive things that can come from this. Think about positive things of things you can do or we can do together, you and her, right? So that she can come to terms with her own sorrow and say, okay, I am in sorrow. Where do I move from here? On her, and then come up with those ideas on her own. Because that's how ultimately she's going to move forward. That's how she's going to become the person, like you mentioned, also in this story. I forget what you called her. Darling, right? Darling, who wants to get better. She's experiencing sorrow. She's experiencing pain, but she knows she's going to go somewhere with it. So now you can take your significant other and move her through that process of saying, when we experience this sorrow, the best thing we can do is figure out this is a good thing. Sorrow is a good thing. because it's showing us we need to move and we can move forward with this. Then she starts to get that perspective of the world. And when she gets that perspective on the world, then she becomes like Darling and starts to figure out, how do I move forward? And she starts moving forward on her own. With you there, giving her that perspective. So ultimately, everything I just said, right? And I'm sorry I talked for so long. I had to tell a story, right?
That's perfect. It's been the perfect amount of time, and whatever you can continue to go for
I'm
the
almost
perfect
done.
longer amount of time.
I'm almost done. The whole point of everything I just said was you are creating a habit inside of her. You are creating a perspective on life by having that perspective yourself and showing her that perspective. You keep on relaying that perspective over and over and over and over to her. That pain, suffering, sorrow, these are beautiful things that create and are necessary to show love, right? You keep on showing her that perspective. Eventually, over time, that's going to be her perspective. And with that, she can start moving forward. She can have that desire to move forward, right? So you're programming her by your own personal example. So just be the best version you can of yourself and try to be the essence of that perspective for her, so that she has someone to follow and someone to give her strength to become that person herself. I hope that helps. I hope that all made sense, and hope that it gave you enough understanding and inspiration to do your best to try that. Because that's, for me, that's the only thing that's ever worked, is to try to get other people to have that perspective. So then they can go, okay, I need to start looking at life this way, and then wanting to move forward themselves. But yeah, okay, good. You understand. Thank you, Subaru. I'm going to move it on to Joe. Actually, Joe's down there. Joe, who is going to share with us his perspective.
Did I tell you Ryan was wise in the ways of wisdom? Because you could seriously, like, we could just rewind and replay that again, and that could be my part. Like, seriously.
Cool.
Because what you've done is you've just seriously, like, you have laid out in such a concise and wonderful way how to help somebody through an issue. And that is worth so much. I mean, I can't tell you how valuable that information is, like, for someone in your position, Subaru, who is dealing with a person, and you care for them, you love them, and you want to help them through this situation. And, Ryan, with his depth of experience, I mean, that the story is tragic. But had that not happened, would Ryan know all of the things he knows today about how to handle this? Would he have been able to explain this in such a way? Now, I don't know, probably, because he's just brilliant anyway. But the story really helps to show the depth of what these situations like, and what can happen, and it's really amazing. But wrapped through all this, I mean, what we're trying to do is help people heal. And that's what you're trying to do in this situation too. You're trying to help her heal from whatever pain that she's been dealing with. And I saw above in your post that she does tend to be a bit of a tsundere from time to time. And hey, that can be par for the course. When people are under emotional stress, they have that lashing out, that kind of back and forth, like, hey, I'm nice, and then bang, like there's this this sharp edge to them a little bit. It just it kind of goes along with the territory. So that it doesn't surprise me one bit that you say that. The thing that I want to address in this situation with you, Subaru, is I'm noticing that in your post and also in the chat, you've expressed numerous times that you're afraid that if she sees the real side of you, or she understands your past, or if she understands something, like, it's going to cause problems, or she might not want to be with you anymore. She might want to not listen to you, or for whatever reason. And so what I want to help with is that fear that you're feeling inside you. Ryan laid out for you is a great way, like some tremendous ways to help her in your interactions with her. But in your mind, there's something else to deal with here, and it's that fear. And one thing, well, there's a few things. I'm gonna kind of set the stage for this. Like, okay, so if if she's with you, but you're not showing your true self. Now, we don't have to always share with everybody all the details of our past. That's not necessary. Okay.
Sure.
But, if you see in here that you're holding back elements of yourself and who you really are in this relationship, then she doesn't really like you. She likes who you've presented for her. And that can last for a long time. And it generally, I mean, I've been through this a few times in relationships, and that kind of, it just ends up being super duper stressful, because then you can't be yourself. And it just causes all this, you know, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just this conflicting emotions going on. You're just like, oh, and all this extra added stress that, it's, I mean, the relationship then, it's kind of based on untruth anyway. And so you're like, all right, being genuine is important. Now, like I said before, you don't have to dig up all of the old skeletons out of the closet and throw them all out for people to see, right? That's not necessary. But if you're afraid of something, and this could be anything, whether it's what you're describing here in this post or something from a different aspect of your life, anytime you're afraid of something, and generally it's the unknown. When I'm afraid of the unknown, I go through this exercise, and I've spelled this out before. I'm going to do it again because it's so powerful. I ask myself the question, what's the worst thing that's possible in this situation? What's the worst possible outcome if I do the thing I'm scared to do? I've gone through this exercise so many times, it's ridiculous. And where I'm afraid of something happening. And it's like, okay, what's the worst possible scenario? And then I'll go through, okay, well, I think this is the worst possible scenario. And a lot of times that's not. A lot of times that's just a step in finding the worst one. Like, I usually end up going a few steps. Oh, actually, that's not the worst. This is actually the worst. Oh, wait, no, there could be more worse things. And so then it's, it goes on from there, right? So if you look at that situation, you're like, okay, what's the worst possible thing that could happen here? Then answer this next question. What would I do if that happened? So, because you may not even volunteer the information, but it might come out, much like Ryan's situation with in the story he told, like, there was no information volunteered, but and maybe the specifics of the situation didn't come out, but there was, like, some elements of the truth came out and became known, right? And so sometimes, I mean, a lot of times, the truth just finds its way to the surface. If we're trying to hide something, we're trying to keep it buried, that causes a lot of stress on us. And eventually the truth finds its way to the surface anyway, and we got to deal with it anyway. So it's like, we got to think, all right, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? Then, if and when that were to happen, what would I do in that situation? How would I handle it? And when you figure that out, you know what you've just done? You've just planned ahead for the worst possible outcome, which means it's not as scary anymore because you have a plan. And a lot of the fear starts to go away with that clarity of what you're going to do. Now it's not as scary because it's not unknown. Now it might still be scary. It might still be, something that you want to avoid or soften up. So then the next step, once you figure out what you're going to do and you have a plan for it, now it's okay, what steps can I take to soften that? What steps can I take to improve that outcome? And it really becomes this, it's a very logical, okay, here are things that I can do. Here are things that I can try. It's very practical. And it takes a lot of that, it takes the teeth out of it, if you will. Because now, it's not quite so scary. So um at any rate, like I said, I've done that exercise so many times. Um so one of the most important things that you're going to do in this situation, you're already doing. And that's professing your feelings for her. If you can come across as a person that's, hey, you know what? I'm going to be here no matter what. I'm going to be with you no matter what. And that's one thing about dealing with the tsundere. Like, a lot of times they're just testing you to see how much you can take. Is this person still going to be around if I do this? Are they still going to be around if I do this? They'll just like fire at you, like, okay, it's like a test, right? But around surrounding all that, if they can feel secure in the fact that you're going to be there regardless, and that you love them no matter what, you love them even though they have faults, because everybody has faults. Of course, we all have faults. But that's the underlying cause of so many people's stress, is like they're afraid that, they're going to lose this person. I know I've felt that way before, where it's like, I really don't want to do anything. Like, I really got to be careful because I don't want to lose this person. And so then I have to come to grips with that fact. Okay, well, what if I did lose this person? Then what would I do? Well, I'd probably do this and I'd probably do that. Okay, how can I take steps to not lose this person? Right. And then, but still be genuine and be honest and, do things the right way. And that helps to clarify things. Then, if you can provide a foundation under the whole situation of love and acceptance, and I'm here no matter what, and help them understand that goes so much farther in my experience than any advice that I've ever offered. I mean, when I'm dealing with somebody and they're a close friend of mine, or maybe I'm in a relationship or whatever, and we're dealing with a situation that's really, really painful, and I'm trying to help them through that, all my advice is secondary compared to them knowing how much I care about them. There's an old statement that's kind of cheesy, but it's very, very true. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But then once they know you care, you darn well better know something. Like, that's kind of the the afterthought. And then you can apply, everything that Ryan was talking about in there too. But it's clear to me that you love this person. It's clear from your post. It's clear from your your comments in the chat. It's absolutely clear. And so if you can just work to get that message across, that message of love, that unconditional love, that love that says, no matter what you do, I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to care. I'm still going to be here to try and help you through this. that sets a foundation that sets them at peace, knowing that they're going to be accepted no matter what. And from there, you can then start to build, you know, you can try and help them out. And I also want to emphasize the power of forgiveness in the healing process. Generally, when we're feeling bad and depressed and we've got bad feelings going on and hurts and pain, there's something that's happened that we have not forgiven. And it might not be something that some person did to us. It might just be something that happened that we're upset with the universe about.
Sure.
And we just need to forgive the world for being cold and heartless because it happens, right? Maybe we need to forgive ourselves for all the mistakes that we've made. I know that was a thing for me, and that was hard. It was easier to forgive other people than it was to forgive myself. But through forgiveness comes the greatest amount of healing that I've ever experienced. And that other people that I've talked to, it's the same story. That the hurts that they had and all these misbehaviors and wrong things that were going on in their life, once they started forgiving and letting go of past hurts, because that's how you let go, is through forgiveness. That's when healing can begin. And it is painful, but healing is always painful. It's okay to go through pain, because on the other side of that is healing. And with that, I don't know, Ryan, did you have anything else?
Yeah. Subaru, I want to give you a really hopefully I want to give you an image that is hopefully vivid in your mind, okay? It's right along with what Joe's saying, and it's super important. Joe was saying, right, the whole base of your, the way you engage this person, the foundation is that you love them and you accept them, and you're always going to accept and love them. Mm-hmm. Right? That's your foundation, right? And that's beautiful. That's good. And then you've got this other part of you, you've got your bad parts, and you're afraid to admit it, right? You're not necessarily afraid to admit it, but you're afraid of what saying or revealing that to her could do to your relationship. And so you put on this mask, right? You put on this mask to cover up what's underneath, right? Yeah. Now, I want you to have this imagery, okay? Someone goes and they make a big mistake. They do something terrible, okay? And through the process, right? Maybe they cause a fire and there's a house that gets on fire and they caused it. They try to burn the building down on somebody, all right? Or they got in a really rough fight with somebody, all right? Either way, their face got all kinds of messed up, okay? Okay, you with me? Their face got all kinds of like messed up, burnt, scars, bruised, battered, bloodied, whatever, okay? So they go to the hospital, okay? And they kind of work on the face a little bit, and then they wrap it up in bandages, okay? They wrap the whole thing in bandages. And so someone comes into the hospital room to talk to them and say, all they see is you, but they don't see you. They see all the bandages around your face. And you guys talk back and forth, right? They can see your heart because you're still there with it. You're talking back and forth. They can see who you are. We've got this mask on. The mask, I'm just going to tell you, the mask is not that attractive. It's the person underneath that is, right? The mask is not that attractive. We look at the person and we see a bunch of bandages, with like a little cutout for their nose, like for nose holes, and like it's not attractive. We're just looking at it like, okay, here's a bunch of bandages. I'm talking to like this. I'm talking to a mask, all right? Then you share with them a story. You share with a story about that fight you had, and you say, you know, I did something that was really wrong. I messed up. I made this mistake. Okay. And you start to tell them about the story. And you say that you say, and what I learned from that is this. And that mask starts to break off. It starts to kind of parts of it start to crumble off. And underneath, instead of revealing a bruised and battered face, it's this pure white, perfectly clean face, like soft like a newborn baby. Like it is just pure because you've taken what's caused your mask to be created and you've started to peel it away by revealing what's underneath and what you've learned from it. And your mask and that bandages, they just start falling off and they can see the healing that has happened. But instead of just being healed, right, it's become more beautiful than anyone ever thought it was to begin with. Because it's had time to process and to be worked on underneath while no one could see it. So just imagine that mask, it's flaking away, all right? And it's just kind of crumbling into pieces. And underneath is this beautiful face. And that's you, okay? You have this mask because you have so much to hide, because you're afraid of them seeing what's underneath. But if you take and you admit the wrong, you admit the injustice, and you allow them to see what's underneath, you can show them what's underneath has been glorified. It has become beautiful through what you've learned and what you've experienced. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to think about when you reveal who you are, okay? When you reveal, like, when you take off your mask. So when you approach your, the person you love, you can say, look, I'm going to share a story because this story is going to help you, or whatever, right? You can say, I've got something to share with you because I want to help you. Or she shares something with you and you say, oh, I had an experience like that. Now, here's the thing. What I did was really, really, really wrong. Like, this is totally messed up and I'm not this kind of person anymore. And this is what I learned from it. Earlier I just told you about my story when I lied to the person, right? But you don't think worse of me now, do you? You probably don't, because I'm not that person anymore. Like I said, I'm not going to lie to somebody again. I could have had a relationship with that person. I could have helped them, right? I say that you don't just lose respect for me because I shared my story. No. In fact, you feel more connected to me because I shared my story. And you start to respect me more as a human being because I shared my story. The same will happen to you when you share your story with her. When you say, this is something I went through, and this is the wrong that I did, and this is the beauty that I've gotten from it. This is how I've grown as a human being. And this is, and sharing that story doesn't make you less attractive. It makes you more admired, more desired to be with, because when you can show you went through something and admitting you did the wrong thing, it gives her the strength and it gives her the ability to believe in you, that you know what is right and wrong, that you will take what is wrong and make it right. She'll start to believe in you as a person who can do what is good, to take what is bad in life and make it good. And she'll want to be with you even more. Okay? So I hope that gives you the confidence and the right way to go through admitting your faults of the past, so that it isn't just something you have to fear, but something you can admit to with knowing that it's become glorified. Admit to going, this is good that I'm admitting to this because it's going to help her and it's helped me. And I'm a better person because of this, right? Have confidence in that. And I hope, yeah. Anyways, that's what I got. That's what I wanted to add. So don't be afraid to share your stories. Obviously, just let her know you're different than that now, right? And now you've learned right from wrong, and you want to be that right person. You want to be the person that's right for her. She'll have more faith in you because of that than she ever will if you hide your problems forever. If you never show her that you've ever fallen, she'll have no reason to believe that you are a type of person that can get up. You are the type of person that will do what's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everybody has a past. I think Tara said that earlier on in the thing. So it's very relatable to share if you've got some darkness in your past, because everybody does. Everybody has things they wish they hadn't done. Everybody has ways they wish they hadn't been before.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally fine. It's totally relatable, and it really can soften our hearts toward one another to share some of that stuff. So,
yeah. Sorry for, I know that we spent like 45 plus minutes on that topic. Hope everyone was all right with that.
Good topic.
But I'm glad we did. It's a good topic. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to discuss in it. So it was good.
Very, very thorough. It had multifaceted. Ish. Yes. So, are you frozen, Ryan?
Nope.
Okay. You were sitting there all like still. I'm like, oh no. Ryan's frozen.
You're like, oh, did I lose connection?
Can people still hear me? I hope people can still hear me.
Yeah.
No, Subaru, it's awesome. Thank you so much for posting. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for being interactive in the chat while we went through this too.
Yes.
Thanks for having more to expound upon. That definitely helps us to gauge what direction we're heading in, so then we can kind of know, especially with an older post where if there are updates and stuff like that go along with it. So thank you so much for being here and posting, and yeah, it's awesome. So no worries on the length of time. We have taken much longer on other posts. Don't worry.
That's true.
Don't worry about a thing. It's hilarious.
Every little thing. Be all right. Lyrics.
Yes. We do have this goal to shorten our topics, and what's hilarious is Princess tries so hard. She's like, she sends us timestamps and everything of how long it's been, and we're always just like, ha ha ha. Like, we're just.
Well, this time she was like, keep going. So
that's true. That's true.
That was a while ago. Actually, she said like, keep going. Like that was like 20-30 minutes ago. Okay.
So anyway, all right. So who's next then? Thanks again, Subaru. And please stick around. Keep us posted on things. We'd love to know.
Yeah, we'd love to see you in the chat. It's awesome. You're great.
Yep, absolutely. So let's see. What do we have next? Should I go through the list again? Is that what a proper?
Yeah, it's been a while, so maybe there's some people that popped in.
All right. So if you hear your name, just say what's up, your mom and or something, because that seems to be the word of the day.
Yeah, every day.
I tried to switch it up, and then I'm like, that just didn't sound as cool.
I like the exclamations in the chat. That's great.
All right. I'd say just do a bunch of capital A's. What's up?
Yeah, but Rack will pop in here, and he'll just do that no matter what.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't need a topic.
Right. So, all right. So here's the list. Sumner Kagan, John Doe, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Caffrey, Rain Knight, Aura, Akil, Little Miss Fancy, and Bree. Was it? Yeah. All right, good.
Hi, what's up, your mom and dad?
So and then there's apparently what's going on with this one from Bree?
That was
supposed
basically
to do that one next.
No, well, she's Senna said that they're not here, but she'll send Bree this timestamp once we've done it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because yeah, I
Gotcha.
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at this point, okay, she's experiencing loss. Okay. We will do another topic here. Let's see. Well, what do you think, Ryan?
I'm good with anything.
You're good with anything? You're
Yeah.
good with anything?
That's right. Even a punch in the nose. All good.
No nose punches.
Okay, that's maybe not true. Parts of that might not be
Trust
true.
me, if you get punched in the nose, you will discover that you're not okay with being punched in the nose.
I'm not okay with this. That's what I'll say.
Right. I thought I would be okay with it, and I'm not.
Yeah. Can't believe you've done this. That's what I'll say.
So if you guys are okay, since all right, if you guys are okay, I'd like to do Breeze because we do have an expedited stamp on this one. So if those of you who heard your name are okay with that, I would love to do that. So unless I hear any objections in the next 14 and a half seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half, 6, 7, 12, 14 and a half.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep, no one said it. No one objected. So it looks like we're good.
All right, and Princess already posted the link, so that's the one.
All right.
All right.
Well, she was counting too. At the same speed.
All right, it's hilarious. I do the countdown for my kids sometimes, like because you ever have younger kids where you're like 5, 4, 3, 2, and like mom counts slower than I do. And like when I count, I'll be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can't count that fast. Yes, I can. All right. All right. So this is from Bree. It is called Loss. And Bree, I realize you're not here, and I hope that this finds you in good spirits and in good health. And remember that our love goes along with this. We just want to express that to you. So anyway, this is from Bree. It's called Loss. My heart feels broken again, shattered. I don't know why this keeps happening, but I hate it so much. I lost my kitty yesterday. I had to give her away because if she would have stayed with me, she would have died. And I just couldn't see her slip through my fingers like mittens. I couldn't pay for her surgery, so I had to give her to the vet. I'll never know if she made it or if she died, but I guess that's for the best. It just hurts so much. So what I'm trying to say is, can someone tell me how to deal with this? How do I deal with my loss? And yes, Bree, thank you. And I'm so sorry to hear of your loss. It definitely, when you have a companion like that, a close friend, whether it's a pet or a person, it hurts. It hurts a lot. And my heart goes out to you. And so, yeah, I understand that pain, and it can be very, very hard to deal with. So, Ryan, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm not really exactly sure what to say here. So I hope I can do this topic justice. It's hard, just like Joe said. When you have a pet, it's kind of interesting because your relationship, it's different than what you have with your best friend or with your mom or whatever, family and friends and so on. It's different just because the nature of the relationship is different. But at the same time, when you lose them, you experience that loss, and it's tough no matter what, for anybody, anybody who cares, at least. So what do you do? What do you do? Because there's no amount of sorrow that you can experience that will change and bring Kitty back, right? It's just something that you have to deal with at that moment. And I think that the best way to deal with these type of things, in my experience, is take time to recollect and think about the good experiences along with the bad, right? Think about, I don't know how much time you had with Kitty, or with your kitty. Um, but if you can spend some time in peace thinking about just the different experiences you had with the kitty, and even if you have someone next to you who also experienced a loss, who also experienced some time with them, um, to talk about it with them too. Share some of the good times, some of the not so good times, some of the funny things, some of the annoyances, right? Um, Talking about those things can help settle our restlessness in our hearts, because a lot of times that's what we experience, that constant nagging of like, they're not here, they're not here, they're not here, and it just kind of reminds you, and it's like it's painful, because you can't do anything about it, right? And it's just like, yeah, I know they're not here, thanks, I know it sucks, right? So one of those things you can do to kind of settle that restlessness is talk about it. Talk about it with someone who knew, or just talk about it with yourself. Um, because once you can kind of get it out, your mind can stop doing the loops.
Hmm.
So another thing that would be really good is writing it out. If you could take some time to open up a journal or whatever, or maybe just pull out a piece of paper if you don't keep a journal, or a diary or whatever, just pull out a piece of paper and start writing about the kitty, right? Just start writing about, and write down the different things that you remember. Write write that down. What that'll do is get it out of your head and onto the paper. And you can read through it, and it's okay if you cry, right? It's okay if you cry while you're writing it. Just write. Just keep on writing it until you've got all of your thoughts out on the piece of paper. Or again, if you're talking to someone, until you got all the topics, all the thoughts in your head out. Because then at that point in time, our brain no longer has that. It's like it's on replay over and over and over, the same thought. Once you can write it down, your mind can start getting past it and saying, it's out there now, and I can read this whenever I want. Or it's out there now, I've talked about it with a friend. So that's one of the best things that I know, that from my experiences, that really help to deal with that loss, and to start moving it into a forward direction. Um, and it's hard because you want to pay respects, right? You want to pay respects for the loss. So you feel like it would be wrong to make good of it. But that's not true at all. Um, when you have a bond with somebody, when you have love, that the desire for them is for the best of them. You want them to move forward. You want them to live life. You want them to experience good things. And even an animal would want to have you experience good things. It's natural. And you want the pet to experience good things as well. So if you start to have that thought like, I don't want to smile about this. I don't want to get over this. I want to be able to have this in my heart, and I want it to hurt. Try to take that thought away, because just as any loved one would say, I don't want you to be in pain, and especially not over me. I wouldn't want you to be in pain over my death. In fact, if I ever die someday, the best thing that could ever happen is people throw a party and celebrate and go, that guy was awesome. our lives are awesome and we're not going to be sad for a minute. We're just going to just be happy that he was here when he was here, and happy we get to see him when we go. Thank God for his life existing at all, period. Let's celebrate. Let's have a feast. Let's enjoy each other's company and then move on with our lives.
And shake maracas.
And shake maracas. Beat some bongos.
Yes.
You know? There it is. So, and you know, I mean, I can't imagine anyone entirely saying any different. If they love someone, they don't want them in pain. We don't want other people to hurt, right? So try not to allow yourself to think, I need to be in pain for this. I need to suffer. I need to wallow in this pain to respect their life, because there's nothing more respectful of another creature's life, whether it be human or a cat, than to allow it to build you up inside and move your life forward, to allow it to fill you with happiness, even if they're gone. Be grateful, right, for the time that you had. That's way more important than being sorrowful for the time that doesn't exist, because there's nothing you can do at this point. But you can continue your life in loving memory of and desire for joy, just as they would desire joy for you. So, yeah. Anyways, that's what I've got. I hope some of that helps. And I'm going to move it on to Joe.
Thanks for that, Ryan. I think that's super important. And going along with the writing thing, Bree, that Ryan was talking about, I think this is a perfect time to take whatever creative outlet you have and throw yourself into it for a time. Because whatever art form you find particularly compelling to you, whether it's music or sculpting or painting or writing, I know it's been a while since we've spoken, so I don't remember what where your abilities and your talents lie, but wherever that is, it's the perfect time to do something there. Because really, the best music and the best art is an expression of emotion, and the deeper the emotional feeling, the grander the work of art can be, if you will. And really, it doesn't have to be something you're planning on making in order to sell or in order to share with anybody, really. It can just be a way for you to get out those emotions that you have inside and to put them out, like Ryan was talking about, to put them all out on paper, your thoughts and your feelings and everything, express them on paper. That's hugely important, and that's so true, because once you have it expressed on paper, now it's out of your head and down on paper, and you don't have to have it looping in your head over and over again. That is so powerful. And that's one of the reasons why journaling is such a powerful practice to get involved in, and why it can help. I would encourage anybody listening to this stream to take up, no matter what place in life you are, to start journaling. Even if it's not every day. I journal. I don't do it every day. I try to do it every day, but I fail to do it every day. So that's okay. But either way, what that does is it takes your thoughts and it puts them down on paper. So now you feel like you can let go of them in your brain, and you can start thinking of other things, and you can put your focus on other things. You don't have all these thoughts just churning around in your head, because they're out now. And with emotion like this, when you're feeling these deep emotions, this deep loss, one of the best things you can do is pour yourself into some creative energy some art form or something that you do that's creative, because that emotion will be expressed in your creativity in a very deep way. And I remember I saw this movie. I can't remember what movie it was, but this guy had this blog, and like everybody was kind of picking on him for having this blog because he's like, nobody ever reads your blog. You got like one person in the world that reads your blog. He's like, my blog is not about being read, it's about being written. And he'd sit there and type. And you can kind of get that's where it comes. Like when I'm feeling deep emotional pain and I'm sitting down to play my instrument, I'm not sitting there thinking I'm trying to write a song that I'm going to then record and produce and release, and we're going to put it here and find a place to put it here and here and here. I'm not thinking of that at all. When I'm feeling that deep emotional pain and I sit down with my guitar, all I'm doing is I'm just pouring my heart out onto those strings. And they're totally incoherent, whatever. And hopefully I remembered to hit the record button, because I'm telling you, like, I have, in those moments, I haven't necessarily created whole entire songs in those moments that would be good, but there have been little kernels of ideas that I could build songs off of in those moments where I'm just me and God and my guitar, and I'm just pouring out my soul, and all the pain that I'm dealing with. It's just, and really, honestly, some of the deepest stuff comes from that. And, but you may not ever, the point isn't to come up with something that you can then market to the world. That's not the point. The point is to pour out your emotions, because that is it's a way you can heal. I remember when I was a kid and we had a dog and we got rid of the dog much the same way here. I mean, it wasn't because the dog was sick. It was just that it was too much for us to handle at that time. And so we decided, well, we just got to take the dog to the vet or to the Humane Society or whatever, because we can't handle having a pet right now. It's too much stress. It's too much to deal with. And I remember that afternoon, after we had taken the dog down there, dropped it off, my brother and I were out in the backyard and we were playing. We were kicking the ball back and forth or playing catch or something. And we were running around on the grass. I'll never forget it. It was cloudy and it was kind of cold and windy, because that's how Michigan is. You take most of the days.
It's true.
But it was such an empty time, because we were out there playing and the dog wasn't chasing us around, nipping at our heels, or trying to play soccer with us, which is funny to watch a dog try to play soccer with their mouth. But the dog wasn't there. It was just me and him. And I remember looking at him, my brother, and, I could see in his eyes the same way I was feeling, that, we really missed having the dog there. Even though we knew, we had it explained to us and we had been involved in the decision that this was too much for us to deal with. We had a lot going on in school and in extracurriculars, and we were like, we just don't have the time or the energy to deal with this. But even still, in that moment, there was sorrow and there was pain because of that loss. And, eventually it gets better. Time heals, but you never forget. But I like what Ryan was getting at mainly. Great is the day when you can not focus so much on what you lost, but focus on the time you had with that individual, whether it's a pet, whether it's a person, whatever. I mean, when you can reflect more on the joy of having that individual in your life for that time, that's a great day. And it's a journey to get through, to that point, because that's why there's mourning. I mean, there are even in the Old Testament of the Bible, they had specific prescriptions for how you were supposed to mourn. Like you had to take X amount of time. I don't even remember how long it was, but it was like it was a legal requirement to mourn for a certain period of time for somebody, because that just helps you get through those feelings. It gives you a chance to process that. But then you get to that point where it's like, okay, they're not with me anymore. I can't change that. You know what? It sure was fun when they were around, and I'm going to remember those good times. Maybe you have some pictures, maybe like, you have a bunch of photos you put together, just, you can keep in a folder or keep somewhere, and you're just like, okay, you can open up and look through them and remember some of those good times. But those are just some little things you can do, and it's always interesting, going through the pain. You find out a lot about yourself, and you gain a lot of strength in those moments too. So understand, Bree, our prayers, our thoughts are with you. I hope that your journey through this time of mourning can be good and productive in your soul. That it can build something in you greater than what was there before, because that's another power of mourning. And it really does build us into stronger, greater people as we go through it. So, Ryan, did you have anything else?
I do, and it was kind of inspired by how you finished this. One last thing I want to say about this, Brie, is your weakness is one of your greatest strengths. It's beautiful that you are taken aback, and it shows us how big your heart is, right? There are people who will lose an animal and they won't be sad at all. But you are deeply sorrowful for this, right? That shows us your heart. You have a big heart, and you have a deep connection with that feeling, and that is really strong. You might feel like you're weak because you go through this, and you get emotional, and it's hard. But in truth, that weakness is actually strength, because it shows how strongly you care for this life, how strongly you care about the time you spend with something, how strongly those moments are, and how much they matter, and how strong your heart is in living out those moments. So don't look at yourself in any way as like weak or anything like that, because really you have a very strong and powerful heart, and it's a beautiful thing. You have to get through this eventually, right? Because we want your life to continue, and you want your life to continue, and you don't want to feel this way forever. But it's okay to feel like this for a time. It's okay. Just take time and reflect, and it's okay. You will get through this, and life will continue. And you may always remember them. Well, you will always remember them. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a testament to the strength of your heart. So know that is a beautiful thing. And you are a beautiful person. Absolutely. again, someone might look at it as weakness, but honestly, it's just impressive. So there's nothing wrong with this sorrow, and it is a testament to the strength of your heart. Um, but yeah, I hope that the time of sorrow doesn't last too long for you, or doesn't hold you back on anything. Remember to keep an open eye for opportunities that come your way during your sorrow, because that can be something that we lose track of. It can be okay to be sorrowful, but don't let it stop you from being great in other regions of your life, in other areas of your life. And as you continue moving forward through life, you know, you'll notice that life is still, it still has all the possibilities of being incredible and great. So we wish the very best for you. We love you, Bree. And we hope that, well, I hope we get to see you sometime soon, but we hope that our love reciprocates, and that you can make it through this quickly.
Yeah. It was great to hear from you, Bree.
Yeah, it was.
You have a special place in my heart. You were around from the beginning of when I started doing Don't Worry Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen you in a while. So yes. So anyway, thank you so much for the post. And yeah, like Ryan said, I hope that you feel our love as you listen to this. So and good luck. You're amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
So awesome sauce. What's next? Oh, do I get to pick? I'm the guy.
You're the host, so you get to pick.
Oh man, it's crazy. All right, cool. So next we have one from Cherry. Cherry, I see you here. All
right.
Also going by Aura. Aura, Cherry. I saw in the chat you listed like all the names you've gone by, which is great.
Oh, did they? That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So Princess has the link there. This is called Plastic Promises. Whoa. And there's a SoundCloud on this one too. But anyway, all right. So this is called Plastic Promises from Aura, and it goes like this. Originally, this post was titled Inspiration, but that was because I didn't quite know exactly how to put my thoughts into words at the time. Now, however, I think I know. I've made lots of promises. I made a promise to my early childhood education teacher that I would make her a song. Years later, I still haven't made it. I told my other early childhood education teacher that I would become a teacher myself, but now I don't want to. I claimed that I would create a YouTube channel documenting my time in Japan and that I would live in Japan, but now I also kind of don't want to. I'd like to visit Japan, yes, but I think I'd like to live in New York or Atlanta like how I once did and be a music artist instead of doing YouTube. It's quite the burden, though, making all of these plastic promises that I end up abandoning. I feel bad for not wanting to do all that I said and for constantly changing my mind on these sorts of things. At this point, whenever I tell my family what I want to do with my life, it's as if they don't really have faith that I want to and know that I'll change my mind, having done it so many times. What can I do to fix this guilt I feel and to stick to the path I claim to want to go on? That is a great question. That's from Aura, and I tell you, that is such a great question, because I've done the same thing many times. Black Static Swerve as a company has done the same thing over the years. Sometimes directions change, all this kind of stuff. Like there was a time, it was crazy. I remember there was a time when I was like, I'm going to move to Los Angeles and it's going to be awesome. And then I was like, nope, I'm going to move to Boston and it's going to be great. And then I was like, nope, I'm going to move to San Diego and it's going to be great. And then nope. And then it's like, I'm going to move to Arizona and that's going to be great. Nope, still in Michigan. I've been to different parts of Michigan. But, you find out, hey, your life takes you where it takes you. And sometimes, you just because you want to do something doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. Just because you decide, hey, this is what I want to do, sometimes things change. sometimes life is forced upon you and you have to make a change, I mean, so it's not always just me being flippy with my decision making. Sometimes it's forced upon me. But with that, I just wanted to let you know how much I understand where you're coming from on this, and I'm with you. And with that, I'm going to turn it to Ryan. So
Yeah.
take it away, Ryan.
Yeah, totally relatable. And totally understandable. To start this off, I'm going to tell you something, Jerry. And hopefully this is something that will carry on with how you decide to make promises from here on out. But even more importantly, how you decide to view your life and what you're going to do. Okay. There's a saying, I'm not quite sure how it goes, but it's along these lines. Okay. Life is not about what you do with it. Life is about who you become with it. It's a lot more important who you are and what you become. Taking whatever experiences and so on that you live through, it's a whole lot more important than what you decide to do. Why? Because what you do is going to be heavily dependent upon who you are and what you become. What you decide you want to do with your time is heavily dependent upon that. But even more so, how you react to things, what you choose not to do, what, the choices that you make or choose not, is heavily dependent upon who you are as an individual. And even more so, God cares a whole lot more about who you are as a human being than he ever does about what you've accomplished. Believe it or not. He cares a whole lot more about who you are than he does about where you live. He cares a lot more about who you are than your YouTube channel. All right? So that's important. That's the number one important thing, because who you are is going to direct what you do. So when it comes to making promises, when it comes to like, oh, I want to do this, and then you notice like, maybe I don't want to do that. That's okay. That's okay. That's normal. Like, seriously, that's pretty much like everyone does that. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but everyone does that. Why? Because who we are changes. But if we don't have a direction on who we want to become, then that's the worst place that we could be. If we don't have a direction on what we want to do with our lives, that's kind of stinks, right? It's nice to have a direction on what you want to do with your life. But if you have a direction of who you're becoming, and that's unfortunately what most people are experiencing, they have no idea. They're like, oh, I know what I want to do for a life, for a living, but they have no idea who they want to become. They have no direction, no moral compass or that sort of thing. That's a lot worse place to be. So I would spend more time thinking, you know what? I'll do whatever I do, but who I become is this. And figure that out. And then you can start working towards that. And then what you do is going to line right up with that. You can say, I want to be a person who I want to be a saint, Personally, I do. Right? I want to be a saint. I want to be someone who has been a good example of, God's presence on the earth. I want to make a difference in people's lives through my own life, whether it be now or after I'm dead. I want to spend my time being holy, right? Saint Static,
Saint the P.
Saint the P. Oh my gosh, there's like something in my eye. Anyways,
There's your finger.
Oh, thank you. The heck was I doing that for? No wonder. I'm an idiot. So yeah, like Joe said, we've all definitely done this. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, blah, blah, blah. It is important to be able to say, this is what I'm going to do it, and then just do it and finish it. Finish what you start. It's super important to do that, right? It is. But who you are as a human being is going to decide how you accomplish that. Are you going to be, are you going to be the type of person that says, it doesn't matter how I do this as long as it's done. So if I have to do some evil to do it, I will do the evil because the ultimate ending is good? Or are you the type of person that's going to say, I'm going to do everything that's good throughout, no matter what comes my way as the opportunity. I'm going to stick to my truth, stick to my guns, stick to my moral stature, and do the right thing the whole time, even if it takes longer. There's all sorts of different things in life that will come your way that will beckon you to change who you are. And some of them will be good and some of them will be bad. But if you figure out who you want to be, not who you are based on what you do. I'm not talking about who I want to be. I want to be a dentist or I want to be a firefighter. I'm not talking about like that. I'm talking about who you are as a human being. What do you stand for? What do you live for? What will you die for? What is it that what is it you live for? I think that's a good one, right? What is it that your life stands for? How do you love people, or do you not love them? These are deeper questions, right? These are questions that will help you find something that will line up with who you are when it comes to doing something. I could say, I want to be a firefighter. I could say, I want to be a firefighter, right? But that doesn't line up very well with who I am. It does, but it doesn't line up with my talents. It doesn't line up with my, what I stand for entirely. Like, being a firefighter is noble. It's awesome. People who are firefighters are incredible people. Mm-hmm. Like, seriously, you put your lives on the line for other people. That's awesome. But I know my time, I invest in people's minds. I invest in their hearts to change the way that they live their lives, right? And that's what I do. How I do that, there's all sorts of different ways. We do Don't Worry Wednesday. I write music. I talk to people in person, right? And these are just some of the ways. So who am I? Am I a speaker? Am I a songwriter, a lyricist? Am I a personable person, whatever, right? Am I a people person? Am I a task-oriented person? There's so many questions about who I am, but what I do doesn't necessarily define me. I'm defined through my whole life, how I interpret things, and how I speak to people, how I treat people, right? Everything I do is important. So ultimately what I'm saying here is, don't make promises about what you're going to do. Make a promise about who you're going to be and let that decide what you're going to do. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Don't make promises about what you're going to do with your life. Make a promise about who you're going to be and let that decide what you're going to do with your life. Because who you're going to be, that's something you work on your whole life for. You never stop that. But it does guide you in what you do for the rest of your life. And it makes what you do matter. There are plenty of people who have settled and said, you know what? This is who I am, and I'm not going to change for anything. And they don't usually amount to a whole lot because they stop doing things that will help change who they are and make themselves better. They stop doing things that will help change who other people are and make them better. The way that you become the most influential in life is not by what you necessarily decide you want to do for a living. It's far more dependent upon who you're going to be as you live this life, how you're going to perceive the world around you, how you're going to treat the world around you. That's far more important. So figure out what's the best there and become that. You know, I mean, we have some great examples. You know, you in your religious life, you have some great examples of what is good, you know. So anyways, I'm going to stop there and move it on to Cherry. Or sorry, move it on to Joe. Cherry, you talk to yourself for a while now. All right, you tell yourself what's up. Yeah, you can do that after the show. We've got Joe. Joe gets a turn here.
Joe gets a turn?
Yeah, Joe gets a turn. You can have your turn after this. All right, Cherry.
Oh, okay. Actually, Ryan, what you just said helped me out a lot too, because I have been this guy forever. You know, what am I going to do? What am I going to try? And I'm always trying stuff. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's had a front row seat of me and my attempting. Interestingly enough, you know, we've always been trying, you know, this, it reminds me, like what Ryan was saying is so fitting, because as a company with Black Setting and Swerve, we've tried many different things. We tried many different approaches on what we're going to try and do. You know, what kinds of things are we going to do in order to be a company and, you know, have an income coming in and, you know, be able to accomplish the things we want to accomplish. And what are those things? And Ryan really steered us around just like a month or two ago, where he just kind of brought the question around and he's like, wait a minute though. What is Black Setting and Swerve? What are we to the world? Not necessarily what are we going to do, but what are we? What are we? Like, what are we going to be in the world? And you know, it's crazy. Once we started to figure that out, now our to-do list is like a mile long of things to do. We've got so many things to do, it's coming out of our ears.
Yeah.
Once we figured out who we wanted to be in the world, now we got endless list of things to do. Like,
that's true.
It's amazing. So it's a great place. I mean, but the problem is we all hear this from the time we're in elementary school. What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? What kind of job do you want to have? You know, do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to be a fireman? Do you want to be don't be a musician. They don't make any money. Do you want to be a businessman? Do you want to be
You did say that.
Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be you know, whatever? And you know, so like we're kind of, it's drilled into our head about all this do, you know, like what are you going to do? And the challenge then is we cease to become a human being and we become a human doing. And that's wrong. And what Ryan was just explaining has led me to more peace of mind and more inner stability than most other things in my life. Because when I figured out that it was more important, the person I am is more important than what I do, that changed everything. because now I'm not scrambling, running around all stressed out, like with my hair on fire. You notice I don't have any, like because my hair burned off. It was on fire for so long. Like, because I've always been this person. Like, even back in high school, I've always been so busy trying to accomplish things. My friends, even in high school, they're just like, you're always doing stuff. My senior year in high school, I was doing so many music related things. I was getting prepared for, to major in music in college. I was attempting to be a snare drummer in a drum and bugle corps, which takes up like every weekend, right? I was on the swim team at the same time. And somewhere in there, I thought it'd be a good idea. I'm just going to write an orchestral piece. I'm going to hand write it. It's 30 pages of orchestra score. Written out by hand. Like, took me months.
The fact that you even did it is incredible.
It was nuts.
The fact that you got past the first quarter of the first page that you had to write for it is incredible.
When you're writing for every section of the orchestra, and I'm a percussionist. Like, most people pick on percussionists. Like, you're not even really a musician, you're a percussionist. Like, and I'm writing this orchestral score for the whole thing. It's this huge, tall thing, like staffs all the way down, right? And it's like drawing the lines with a big. A ruler wouldn't work. I had to use a yardstick, to draw the measures. But the point of all that is not, hey, I wrote an orchestral score. The point is I've always just been busy, right? Trying to do things. And I totally lost sight of who I am as a person. That was secondary. It was always about, what am I accomplishing? And then where was I going? Where was I going to be? I wanted to, and another place I wanted to live in was London. I wanted to live abroad. I thought that would be so cool, So I wanted to go to England. There were all kinds of different things I wanted to do. Never wanted to move to Florida, though. That was one thing I never wanted to do.
Fair enough.
Because it's too hot down there. But at any rate, now it doesn't matter where I live. Part of the issue, part of the thing now is because we have technology that's connecting us, and we've got, this pandemic now, so we're not supposed to leave our houses. So it doesn't matter where you live. You kind of live everywhere in the world, because here we are, we're coming to you on your computer screen, and you're wherever you are in the world. I'm in Boston right now because Snowlock's in Boston. And that's cool. Like, I always wanted to go to Boston. I've never been there personally, but I'm there. Hey, Boston. How's it going?
Hey, Boston. What's up?
In the mornings, it's really fun. I'm in all kinds of countries. I was in France this morning. We had a new person on from France on Double Cup of Joe show. That was fun.
That's amazing.
Yep. And routinely in like Germany and Australia and all kinds of places, here's the thing. We can be anywhere, interacting with people from all over the world, and it doesn't matter where we are physically. So that's now kind of taken off the table. And I remember that always was so important. Where I was physically in the world seemed to be so important to me for so long. And I remember being so proud when I moved to Traverse City, Michigan, because it was a beautiful place on the earth with beaches and great nature, natural beauty all around. And it was like a place where people go to, like, instead of go away from when they go on vacation. Like, that's always a sign. Like, people are like, oh, I don't want to live in a tourist town. I'm like, I want to live in a tourist town because that just says something about the place. Like, it's a place people want to go to rather than leave from. right? Like, always when I was growing up, people were leaving my town to go on vacation to places like Traverse City. And I'm like, now I live in the place where all these people go on vacation to, which I thought was so great. But you know what? Didn't matter. None of it mattered. Because what really mattered was what Ryan was just talking about. Who you are. What kind of a person are you? And the difference you make in others' lives, that's key. That is so key. Because I love what Ryan was saying. He says, I want to be a saint. There's a great guy on the radio I used to listen to all the time. His whole tagline at the end of every show was, be a saint. What else is there? Because really, when you think about it, I mean, from somebody from a Christian standpoint, it's like, hey, we're only here on earth for a little while, and then we have eternity afterward, right? So what's more important than being a saint? Because being a saint means you're in heaven, right? Like, hey, what can be more important than where you're going to spend forever rather than just this 100 years? I'm going to live till I'm 150. I'm convinced.
Nice, man. Sweet.
Yeah.
Luck. I don't mean good luck trying to do that. I just mean good luck with that, because that sounds like a lot of time spent on Earth.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun too. Because once I hit 100, I won't be able to get around very well, and so I got 50 years of not getting around very well.
Well, technology is good, so
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
And you don't need to get around. I mean, you're already in France this morning.
I was. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Right. But really, I mean,
sorry.
I remember getting this, like, another thing I always wanted to do was I wanted to be recognized by people in the world. I wanted to be famous-ish. I didn't want to be so famous that I couldn't go places. Like, I mean, super celebrities, they got paparazzi chasing them all around, and like they're always trying to find you when you're coming out your house in your pajamas getting your mail, and they take a picture of you and your hair's messed up, and they say, oh, look at them, they're on a bender, man. They're like, man, their hair's messed up. They must have a massive hangover. They got a drinking problem now. And it's like, and that's just because they walked outside in their pajamas to get their mail, like everybody else in the world, right?
Yeah. I don't, but that's fine.
Like, yeah, but I always wanted to be, yeah, you just don't go out the house.
You're right. Actually, I do. I actually do go out to get the mail.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
But I remember wanting to be recognized. I wanted people to know who I was. But you know how to really get people to know who you are? Is to make a difference in their life. I remember somebody on a stage one time said, I bet you couldn't mention all the, like, who won the gold medal in some event in the Olympics this past year or whatever, right? And you might know them, but a very small percentage of the room would know who that person is. But then, who made a difference to you your senior year in high school? You will always remember that person. And it just struck me. It's like, I've been chasing after wind. What really matters is the difference we make in other people's lives. That's what helps us be remembered. That's what creates that legacy. That's what, we become important to other people based on the difference we make in their lives, which means it goes so well what Ryan always talks about, where he's like, it doesn't matter what people think of you. It matters what people think of themselves when they're around you. That's what makes the impact. How are we building other people? And so, man, for so many years, I'd been chasing all these things. I'd been trying to please, I've gone down the path of trying to please my family members and friends, thinking, I'm supposed to live up to this image that they have in their head of what I'm supposed to be. Just like what you're talking about. You said, at this point, whenever I tell my family I want to do something with my life, It's as if they don't really have faith that I want to, and they know I'll change my mind. You know what I learned? That doesn't even matter. Doesn't. You might go down a path that they disagree with, but it might be what's right for the world. And that's okay. Ryan's been down that road too.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're striving to be the best you can be, if you're striving to live with virtue, that's what really matters. That and the impact you're making on the world around you. And you can do that no matter what your profession is, no matter what your physical location is, and no matter what your hobbies are, regardless. And even if they change from year to year, you're always doing something different. You can still be living with virtue. You can still be improving and be trying to be the best person you can be. And you can be making an impact on the people around you, regardless of what you're doing from year to year. So I would go back and listen to what Ryan had to say and then listen to it again.
And listen to what Joe had to say 3 times.
0 times.
Not even this time. Oh, closed your ears for the past 20 minutes. Less than that.
Yeah. So anyway, I tell you, Cherry says, I want to give everyone love and love and love and love despite everything. Yeah, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If you can love beyond the rules, love even if they don't seem to love you back. Love them while they're criticizing you. Love them while you post a YouTube video and they give you a thumbs down. Love them.
Mm-hmm.
We got a thumbs down on Double Cup of Joe finally.
Did you?
We did.
Nice.
That was awesome.
That's how you know you're legit.
I know, right? That's what we said this morning. We're like,
I know,
we got a thumbs
because it's
down.
true.
We're like, hey, we're a real show now. Look at that.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's right. I mean,
So,
yeah.
Yep. That was great. So, I don't know. Ryan, did you have anything else?
No, I think that was great. It just, what you said is perfect. And I thank you for backing me up on that. Because it's just true. The more I pay attention to who I am and allow that to guide my decisions through life, rather than trying to figure out who I am based on what I'm doing, just the more my life comes together and makes sense, and the more I get done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's actually worth doing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Isn't it? It's so weird.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I hope that helps, Cherry. But yeah, I think we're at 2 hours. So
Yep. I do want to say something. Elizabeth says, same. I literally made a vow to stop making promises and then went on to make and break them. Anyway, it's hard to make an impact because people actively self-sabotage and reject help from me and others. Yes, you cannot decide for people what they're going to choose.
Yep.
You can just offer and you can be like, hey, you know what? I can't make your decisions for you, but I love you.
Yep. You can be the best you, and that's all you can be.
Yeah.
Or maybe sometimes not even that. But let's be honest. But
you can try as hard as you can to be the best you. Exactly. And you know what? As discouraging as it can be when that happens, the mark of the value in that situation for you is that you actually did something to try.
Right.
It's not how they responded. Their response is their responsibility.
Nice.
Their ability to respond is their responsibility.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. Profound.
Oh my.
Well said.
Thanks. Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for the topic, Cherry, and or you have so many names. I love it. I'm gonna just start calling you What's up with your mom and dad?
What's up with your mom and dad?
Or something. But anyway, thanks for posting, and thanks for always being here. And to all of you in the chat, thank you for being here. It's been a great chat. You guys, it's so fun, and I'm really glad we've got Princess here, and we've got Senna here. You guys, something about it. Like, because we miss stuff in the chat, and once in a while I glance down and it's like there's so much that's happened because you guys are all in here having a good time and chatting. Oh, it's just great. It's great to see you guys.
It is.
So yep. So special thanks to Senna, special thanks to Princess, special thanks to Jesse, special thanks to Ryan, and super duper special thanks to all of you here in the chat, and to you lurkers who are here but not in the chat. You're welcome to join in the chat at any time. Again, yep, go to bss.studio. You can post a topic there. You can find us on Discord and or wherever. Email us dww@bss.studio. If you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you will get a notification at like 6:30 in the morning, because we're gonna go on live Double Cup of Joe show at 7 a.m. Me and Joe Bohan. It's going to be awesome. Right. We're going to have a good time. We're talking about serving others this week. Ooh, and tomorrow morning, it's serving others at the individual level, serving individuals. Wednesday is going to be about serving communities as a whole. So we're kind of taking it step by step. Yeah. So tomorrow morning, that's really cool about your show. Yeah.
You take a topic and you spawn it into different categories. I think that's so cool.
It's kind of an experiment.
Yeah.
We're experimentalizing.
Well, thank you all for being here. We love you all. And we hope to see you again on Wednesday. We do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We also do streams in the morning, as Joe was just referring to, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we also do gaming streams at Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So we are live 27 plus hours a week for you guys, ready to experience what you offer us in your presence. So please join us, and we'll be happy to have you.
Yes, and this show will be going again on Wednesday. It'll be Don't Worry Wednesday edition.
Yes.
And so all of you who had topics and we didn't get to them tonight, come back on Wednesday. We will be able to get to them then. So yes, you guys are awesome. And yeah, happy Easter again.
Happy Easter. Yes.
Thank you for posting that, Elizabeth. Happy blessings. Easter to everyone. You guys are awesome. Thanks again for being here. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, keep being awesome like you are.
Good. Yeah, you better. See you guys.
Do it. Love you.
Peace.